So apparently Disney thought it was a brilliant move. Wait, let me put that more accurately. Disney wholeheartedly believed that putting Snow White back into theaters in 2025, smack in the middle of what might be the most humiliating studio meltdown in recent Hollywood memory, was going to accomplish something meaningful. What was the goal here exactly? Repair the brand's image? Tug at the heartstrings of loyal fans? Salvage Rachel Zegler's already tarnished reputation? Nope, none of that. They figured it would make money. Yes, you heard that right. They genuinely thought this cursed project had any remaining box office potential left. Spoiler alert, it absolutely did not. Let's just lay out the facts in black and white. Snow White was tossed into around 2,300 theaters across the country. Dumped, really, like a last-minute Hail Mary. After all the catastrophic marketing blunders, tone-deaf press junkets, relentless backlash, meme-worthy moments, and Disney's half-hearted damage control, the re-release pulled in a laughable $200,000. That's not a typo. Not $200 million, not $2 million, just $200,000 for a re-release of a classic Disney title. To put that in perspective, we're talking about roughly $50 to $70 per screen. That's pocket change. You'd probably rake in more cash setting up a lemonade stand outside the theater with a sign that says, "Make Disney Great Again," and some novelty t-shirts. Seriously, the per-screen average didn't even cover the price of a medium popcorn and soda, and that's before the theater chains took their 40 to 60% cut. So in real-world dollars, Disney likely walked away with a measly $100,000 or less, just enough to pay for the electricity bill on a single Marvel set. And yet, this was supposed to be Snow White's big, glorious comeback. This is the intellectual property that built the Disney empire. The irony is thick, the failure is stunning. And believe it or not, Disney is still hanging on to hope like it's a life raft in a sea of fire. They're still crossing their fingers and whispering prayers to the ghost of Walt Disney, hoping against all odds that Rachel Zegler's version of Snow White will somehow be resurrected when it hits Disney Plus this June. That maybe, just maybe, the remaining subscribers, not new ones, mind you, but whoever hasn't canceled yet, will choose to stream this flaming wreck as if it's some cherished, wholesome family classic. But let's be real, this movie is dead on arrival. The PR disaster already happened. The theatrical, flop is in the books. And now the streaming failure is inevitable. Disney can try to market it as modern, refreshing, empowering, pick your buzzword, but the truth is, the audience has left the room. People are done pretending this was ever a good idea. This thing is nuclear, and just when you think it can't get any worse, Rachel Zegler herself jumps right back into the media spotlight, not to apologize, not to take ownership, but to pour more gasoline on the fire. In a recent interview, Zegler finally said the quiet part out loud. She admitted what many suspected from the very beginning. She wasn't just the face on the poster. She wasn't just reading lines. She was one of the architects of this disaster. She took an active role in reshaping the movie, and by reshaping, I mean dismantling. In her own words, there were a lot of creative differences on this production. I had a hard time working with Gal Gadot. I didn't agree with the chemistry. I became very close with Mark, Aaron, and Greta, and I really pressured them to redesign Snow White. Let that sink in. This wasn't just a young actress giving feedback. This was a 22-year-old with no major creative track record marching into a billion-dollar franchise and treating it like her personal playground. She didn't want to play the Snow White audiences loved. She wanted to create her own version, from scratch. New backstory, new appearance, new attitude. Forget the Brothers Grimm. Forget the iconic 1937 animated film. Forget the millions of fans who grew up with Disney princesses. No, Rachel Zegler was inspired by herself, and somehow, unbelievably, Disney let her do it. And what was her vision? Apparently, the name Snow White being about skin color was deemed problematic, so she pitched a new origin story, one where the character is named Snow White because she survived a snowstorm. Yes, seriously, she wanted the name to reflect weather conditions instead of the fairy tale's original meaning. We now live in a timeline where Snow White has a climate change backstory. I can't emphasize how ridiculous this is. It's as if someone dumped the original fairy tale into an AI fanfiction generator, slapped on a few political buzzwords, and called it a day. And now, unsurprisingly, Zegler is upset that people are mocking the film. She complains that audiences are being immature for criticizing the costumes, the makeup, the memes, the hairstyle, as if the visual presentation of a fairy tale princess is somehow irrelevant. It's laughable, especially for a movie whose entire foundation is visual storytelling. Then she drops another gem. There was so much footage that never made it into the final cut because I was told my acting didn't work in a number of sequences. Gee, really? You mean to tell me that the same actress who radiated, "I'm too good for Disney" in every single interview might not have delivered the performance of a lifetime? Shocking. She even revealed that certain action scenes were cut because, quote, they weren't working. That's code for unusable footage. That's not a disagreement. That's a disaster. Why was it unusable? Because Rachel Zegler didn't understand, or worse, didn't respect, the role. She treated it like an art school experiment. She wanted to reimagine Snow White as if she were some revolutionary auteur, and now she's stunned that audiences didn't embrace her reinvention. But here's where it really gets wild. She goes on to say that she convinced the creative team, Mark Webb, Greta Gerwig, and others, to follow her lead. She sold them on her vision. And now, when it all collapses, she's angry that people are criticizing it. She says, "I created the character, so I take great offense to how people criticize her appearance and her backstory." Well, guess what? If you created her, then you also own the failure. You don't get to rewrite an iconic fairy tale, insult the fan base, trash the original film, and then play the victim when the backlash hits. Let's not forget, this is the same actress who laughed at the 1937 film, mocked the love story, dismissed the prince, and basically told the world the original was outdated and made by clueless men. She even said she wouldn't let her little cousins watch the original version, and now she's surprised it blew up in her face? Let's make something very clear. This isn't review bombing. It's not sexism. It's not trolls. This is a cultural rejection. A total, unequivocal rejection of what Disney has allowed itself to become, of what Rachel Zegler's version of Snow White symbolizes. And what's most frustrating is, it didn't have to be like this. This movie had the potential to be a billion-dollar box office juggernaut. The name alone has legacy power. All they had to do was honor it, treat it with respect, keep the heart of the story intact. Instead, they handed the keys to an actress with a superiority complex who thought she could do it better than the creators who came before her. They removed the seven dwarfs, gutted the core of the narrative, and transformed a cherished fairy tale into a thinly veiled lecture. And when Disney Plus drops the movie this June, and the viewership numbers are laughably low, you'll know exactly why. It's not a mystery. It's not sabotage. It's a fed-up audience saying, enough. Audiences are tired of being insulted. We're not idiots. We see when studios are trying to gaslight us into accepting garbage as greatness. And Rachel Zegler, despite her spin, has just confirmed what everyone already knew. She helped build this disaster. She shaped it. She owns it. So maybe next time, Disney should cast someone who actually loves the story they're adapting. Maybe they should respect their audience instead of lecturing them. Or just maybe, they should stop touching the classics altogether. But hey, that's just my take from the sidelines. Let me know what you think in the comments. Were you shocked by Rachel's confession, or did you see this train wreck coming all along? Hit that like button, sound off below, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Woke Watch. Because while Hollywood